Hello, everybody. Good morning on this Tuesday morning. Morning for me, maybe not morning for everybody. All right, let's talk about NLP Practitioner Training. I get a lot of questions about this because if you just Google NLP Practitioner Training, you're going to see a ton of practitioner trainings come up. And so what should you do? What's the best way to go about this? Should I go online training? Should I go in-person live training? And why am I qualified to talk about this? Okay, if you haven't followed my YouTube channel and you don't know who I am, my name is Damon Card, Life Mastery Gym. Actually used to be called NLP Gym. And I've been making videos for quite a while now. Let me adjust some of this. Actually, I have made almost 600 videos on NLP and self-improvement and personal development related topics. And I've taught NLP for several years now. I've trained with some of the best in the world and use NLP so much in my daily life that it's become part of me. And so a lot of people want to learn NLP for various reasons. Overall, you just get greater mastery over your life, over your states, accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish overall, just fulfilling your potential in every way. And we feel that, don't we? We feel that yearning to fulfill our potential. I don't care how successful you are. A lot of times you still feel that pull, that I want to do more, to be more, because you know it's in you. And I can't think of anything else in my life that I've done to pull that out, to get that out, get all my good stuff out as much as Neuro Linguistic Programming has done for me. So how do you get properly trained? How do you become a practitioner? Well, there's a lot to this question, and I hope you put questions in there because I want to know what's on your mind. What are your questions that you're asking about this so that I can answer them for you? I will say this, that NLP practitioner trainings are a lot like wine. What do I mean by that? I live in California where the wine is actually absolutely spectacular. I love going to wineries, so I like making wine analogies. So what I mean by that is the most expensive NLP practitioner training doesn't mean it's the best. In fact, I would probably say it's usually not the case, just like a bottle of wine. The most expensive wine is not the best. But you don't want to go for the cheapest either. It applies to most things in life. That is, you get what you pay for. So these courses that are advertising, online courses in 3 days, or even live courses where they say in 3 days, you can become an NLP practitioner. So why would you go for the longer training? Well, there's a lot of obvious reasons to that. And I hope you're smarter than that and you know better that there's no way you're going to pack hours and hours of training. The original NLP trainings were 30 days. They were a month long. And that was when the technology hadn't grown to what it's become today. So when you look back and say 1980, you're talking about 30-day training in NLP since 1980, it was like that. So we're talking, decades later, and this technology has grown so much. So, and now the practitioner trainings are shrunk down to 3 days. Sometimes they're a week. My first practitioner training that I go into was 2.5 weeks, I think. But it was probably only a total of 12 days. And then the second one I went to, I think, was probably also 12 days as well. I went to 2 different practitioner trainings, and then I started resource coaching. So you are not going to learn what a practitioner needs to learn in 3 days or even a week. And I would also say, if you're interested in doing an NLP training, you have to practice NLP. It's not like you just get it in your mind and then you're good to go. A lot of NLP teachers, when they're trying to get you to buy their course, will say something like that. Well, you don't have to practice in my course because you just get it into I get it into your unconscious, and then you're fine. You don't have to spend hours and hours practicing. It's not true. I've never met anyone who actually was able to do that. In fact, I met people who believed that, and then I would start questioning them about, basic NLP concepts. Of course, they couldn't answer them. What I've also noticed too is people jumping from one training to the next, from practitioner to master practitioner, into all of these other advanced trainings without practicing. And the same people I was training with, we started at the same time. I was going to the same trainings as them, and they were coming up to me and saying, "Why are you so much better than me at doing this? Why? What are you doing?" And it's like, there's no secret to it. It's practice. You have to practice. I don't care how good of a teacher taught you. Without practice, you're not going to get it. So in a sense, you are your best teacher, and practice is your best teacher. And so you have to take responsibility for it and do a lot of this on your own. But you do want to get a great teacher. You do want to get great material. There is bad material out there. There are bad teachers out there. So be careful. You want to make sure that the person you're learning from has some endorsements from people who are established in the field. So you want to check those out, because there's a lot of people out there that are just saying NLP this, NLP that, like they know, and oftentimes I can watch their videos or just hear them in person for 10 minutes and I know they don't have it. They're not serious practitioners, and they definitely shouldn't be teaching it. The other thing that people overemphasize, which is a huge mistake, and after I say this one, I'll look at see if there are any questions. But the big problem for people is overemphasizing the certification. So let's get something straight here. There is no world, universal, governing institution that governs who and what an NLP practitioner means, or what it means to be an NLP practitioner, what it means to be certified as an NLP practitioner. No such thing exists. So I would not encourage you to get caught up on the certificate. There are some institutes where you can do their online training, and they're not checking to see if you're actually doing the stuff, and you can just print your certificate. So there are people walking around calling themselves NLP certified practitioner, and they haven't done anything but print out a certificate off of the internet. And then, of course, like I said, you have these courses that are 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 7 days. There's no way you can be at the level of a practitioner in such a short time, but they get certificates. And there's even one training that I went to, and I'm not going to name who the person is because they're huge in NLP, but they don't even care if you showed up to the training. All you have to do is pay for it and then show up at the end of the training, and they have your certificate laid out on a table, and you just go and pick it up. So there's no way that there's no way that they know that you're competent. They're not testing you. There's no way that for them to know if you have the skills of a practitioner. And this is the reason why I don't do certifications, because it's rather meaningless. If one person is spoiling the pool, if one person is peeing in the pool, so to speak, it's ruining all of the water for everybody. And so because you have these institutes online or in person that aren't really testing their students, so they have no idea if they're qualified, they're just handing them a certificate. It means even the schools and the institutes that are really testing their students and making sure they have the skills, because these places do exist. If they're calling what they're doing NLP Practitioner Certification, and the other person who has a 3-day course is calling what they're doing NLP Practitioner Certification, it makes the whole thing meaningless. When somebody tells me they have an NLP Practitioner Certification or even a Master Certification, that tells me nothing. Like I don't look down on the person. I don't judge them and say they don't know anything, but I certainly don't think, oh, well, they must know something. It means nothing to me until they can demonstrate to me what their skills are. I'm not impressed. And I have a stack like this thick of certifications, and I could put them on the wall behind me and say, wow, look at all these certifications and look at all these people who I've trained with. But then I would be giving everyone the wrong idea about who I am and what I do. And like I said, those certifications mean nothing. It's my abilities that I've cultivated in practice over years that means something. And you're not going to see that on a piece of paper. And so that's what I would encourage for you, is not to focus on a certification. I'm not saying don't go to certification trainings. They're fine. What I am saying, though, is don't think that certification means anything. What means something is your own practice, how you're applying NLP in your life daily, and how it's improving your life, how you're becoming more and more effective as a as not just an NLP practitioner, but more and more effective in your communication, getting the results that you want. That's what means something. Certification does not mean anything. All right, let's see what you got. There's some questions coming in. Greetings from Germany. Cool. Oh, before I get into the questions, I'm teaching a course tonight and tomorrow night and Thursday night, 3-part course called Secrets of Persuading and Influencing at the Identity Level. See, I get all worked up about talking about NLP. I forget to tell you about this. So basically, I'm creating a training, and I'm inviting you to come and watch me create the training. So the benefit is you get the material, or you get to sit in on the teaching for free. And at the end, I'm going to ask you some questions, though. At the end, I want this program to be the best program that I've made yet. And I want it to be one of the best programs on persuasion, NLP persuasion and influence. And I know that the best way to do that is to not just put a training together and then throw it out there. It's to put a training together and then check in with you and say, okay, am I giving you everything you need to solve whatever problem you could solve using persuasion and influence? Because you don't have to just be in sales to want to learn persuasion and influence. It is part of your toolkit of effective communication and getting whatever it is that you want and becoming successful in life. So if you want to know how to get in on this, if you look in the description, if you scroll down just a little bit, the text, I have a line that says the name of the training. Just click on that link, opt in, and you can hang out with us tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's California time. And like I said, there's 3 parts to the training. So it's going on tonight, tomorrow night, and the night after that. And Thursday night, after the training, I'm going to make a special announcement, basically giving you more good stuff. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's see. Cool, we got somebody from Germany, somebody who called me Damon. My name is Damon, D-A-M-O-N. Where's the best to learn about nested loops and metaphors? Well, I don't know about where the best place is to learn specifically about those things, but general NLP practitioner trainings cover that. Usually you get a little bit in practitioner and then a little bit more in master practitioner. And NLP, just want to learn more. Great, we're in the right place, Monica. All right, can you recommend Bandler's training? Okay, do I want to step into that hornet's nest about Bandler's training? Bandler's training is this. So I know he's changed over the years. He is the master. I'm not in any way trying to take anything away from him. I do encourage people to go and see him. He's quite an event, but I would say it's more entertainment than it is learning. I don't regret spending the week that I did training with Bandler. It was a lot of fun, but unfortunately, you're not gonna learn a lot. He's gonna do a lot of hypnotic stuff, and it's gonna feel great, and he's gonna put all these good messages in your head, and that has absolute value. And he is a master. But as far as really learning NLP, I'm not the only one who says this, but you're not gonna get a whole lot of learning NLP in his courses. And maybe in the advanced courses. I didn't take the advanced courses, but that's possible in the advanced courses. Like I said, it's an event, it's entertaining, and that has value in itself. But I even talked to a lot of his students, and I've even basic stuff that some of his master students don't know. So as far as actually learning NLP and being able to be conscious of what you're doing, his courses aren't the best for that. So, but he's amazing. Monica says, at what time? 6 p.m. That's California time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just click the link and it'll give you all the information. What are the open training you recommend? I'm not sure what you mean by open training. Is this practitioner training? The training that I'm doing tonight is not practitioner training, but you don't need prior NLP training to take the course that I'm doing tonight. If you're a complete newbie, it's fine. And if you have NLP training, I'm still gonna blow your mind with this training. I had hesitated on putting out an NLP persuasion and influence course because there's so much already out there, and I didn't want to be repetitive. I didn't want to repeat what someone else has already done. So the basics you'll find in a practitioner training. I wanted to go further, and I go in this training that I'm doing tonight, tomorrow night, and Thursday night. It will start you off slow, and then it'll pick up, and it gets quite advanced. It gets advanced to the point where it's something that you'd probably have a training that you'd want to go through a few times. You'll get something out of it the first time, but you'll get more and more as you go through it again and again. Now, some people ask, well, what about online training, online NLP training versus in-person training? They both have pros and cons. I did most of my training in person, and I was very skeptical about online training. I've changed my mind on that. There's some wonderful things about online NLP training that you won't get in a live training. And one of those is, so I spent this wonderful first practitioner training live with great teachers like Robert Dilton, Judith Delosier, and Patti Smith. I forget her name. Not Patti Smith, that's the singer, I think. But anyway, once that's over with, once it was gone, once the training was over, I was like, okay, what do I do now? I had no guidance going forward. So in my practitioner training, what I do is, that's really important to me. I want to give ongoing guidance, ongoing support to my students, which is just not something you're going to get in a live training. Once you've left the training, it's like, okay, what do I do now? It was strange, and I had to figure out a lot of things on my own, but this is what propelled me to want to teach, because I had to figure out a lot on my own. And then, of course, I'd go back to my teachers, and I'd go back to trainings, and then I would confirm whatever it is that I was working on. Also made a lot of bad habits and a lot of bad mistakes, because I didn't have someone to guide me. And then later, years later, I did get a mentor, Steve Andreas, who mentored me for years before he passed away this past September. Maybe I'm giving you too many personal details. All right, so I think online trainings are great. You can repeat the course if it's that type of training where you get lifetime access, like my practitioner training. You can just go through the course over and over, and then because I give ongoing support, that to me is the most important thing that you're not going to get in a live practitioner training. In a live practitioner training, if they do recordings, then you have to pay extra for it, and otherwise you don't get to do the course over and over unless you pay more for it, and then you don't get that ongoing guidance. And I that's what sold me on the online trainings. And so I will take online trainings now, not just for NLP, but for other types of things that I want to learn. Okay, see you later. Yeah, Laura, I'll see you tonight. Which live trainings, practitioners, or teachers you recommend? Well, first and foremost, I would recommend myself. I believe I wouldn't say, I don't like to we'll talk in terms of the best. I would say I'm a great trainer for the right student. You know, a lot of the original NLP teachers, they're either not teaching, they're retired because they're getting up in age, or they're not teaching practitioner courses. They might teach like a 2 or 3 day workshop. So I don't know who's out there. And there are some teachers who I would honestly say I learned stuff from, but I wouldn't recommend them for various reasons. And maybe some of those were my own biases about teacher-student relationships. But so I'm just gonna go there. I'm just gonna say I recommend myself. Okay, I'll go one more. The Andreases have been so good to me. I think Steve Andreas was the quintessential NLP, or the most complete, most balanced, most whole NLP practitioner ever. And Connie Ray, his wife, same thing. She doesn't teach practitioner trainings anymore, but Connie Ray teaches something called Wholeness, Coming to Wholeness. And she's wonderful. She's just absolutely amazing. She's an absolute master. And then her son, Stephen Connie Ray's son, Mark, I'm good friends with. Now, I don't think I have to check in with him. I don't think he teaches a straight-on practitioner training. He gets invited to teach other parts of other people's practitioner trainings. In fact, I invited him to teach part of my practitioner training. That's because I believe in what he does, and I believe in him as a teacher. So he's a good one, but like I said, I don't think he teaches a full practitioner training like I do. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I don't see any more questions. I hope been helpful to you, and make sure that you sit in on this training tonight. I would like your feedback, and you're gonna learn some amazing things about communication and human behavior, and about what influences not just other people's behavior, but what influences your behavior. You're going to be really surprised by some of the training, some of the stuff that I'm going to deliver. And I've never done this before, so I'm kind of curious how this is going to turn out. This is uncharted territory. So you might as, if it's going to be a complete disaster, you'll want to sit in on that too. Wouldn't you want to see that? So make sure you scroll down through the description right here and click that link, opt in, and let's do this. All right, take care, everybody.